Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound County Talk Live.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candy Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, we appreciate every one of you for being part and parcel of the conversation, even as we endeavor to see to it that we break down what is confusing, what is not making sense, so that we can all be on the same page and, of course, know the position to take in the long, stretched struggle of Kenya that belongs to all Kenyans, and Kenya that is in the interest of the majority of the masses. Well, the office of the DPP has been under fire for a long time now. And those of you that remember the remarks given by Raila Odinga during the 15th anniversary of the 2010 Constitution, he says the main stumbling block to the realization and the full enjoyment of the provisions of the new constitution has been and continues to be the office of the DPP. And with that in view, the office of the DPP has recommended some, graft charges against the Bomet governor, as well as the former governor of Bungoma. And it appears that this conversation on graft is taking center stage in terms of where the country is and where we could probably be envisioning the country to head to. And it appears that William Ruto is determined to see to it that graft is not locatable at his doorstep anymore, as it has been all along. And so we'll be looking extensively on the same to establish, is this war against graft, or is just a mere usual PR services that we are being offered to as they loot, and the spoils for this great country ends up in wrong pockets. I mean, in personal pockets at the expense of the great people of this great country. Well, we'll be looking at this in view of the rest of the world, as well as what is emerging in West Africa, and of course, Ibrahim Traore's stand that all that are implicated in graft in Burkina Faso are ending up in prison, and not for less than 20 years. And he's saying that including himself into that particular statement. So we'll be comparing and contrasting what is the difference between war on graft in Burkina Faso and war on graft in Kenya. As that goes on, there is leaked English is becoming an issue. Leaked messages from the WhatsApp group of Parliament on how they conspire to pass bills, and the conversation between Parliament and the executive. Now, this is what the media calls unholy union between the executive and the legislature in this country that has crippled most of the liberties and most of the rights that we are entitled to as a people. And so we'll also be looking on that particular story on how William Ruto sends messages to the members of parliament and urges them to pass particular bills. And then, of course, this is also in the backdrop of his latest onslaught against the parliament, or accusing the parliament for extortion and demanding of bribery in order for them to pass legislature in favor of the executive. Now, this is not the proper picture of how things should be. And when we are exposed to such as a people, we need to be a worried lot, because when there is cohabiting between the watchman and the thief, you know that the house is not safe and the people in the house are at risk. So I invite your input even as we start this particular conversation. Please usicheze mbali, karibisha mtu tumakinike pamoja. Haya yote yakiendelea, kumekuwa na kusherekea miaka 15 ya katiba mpya. Tungependa pia kuangazia na juhudi ambazo zimewekwa kwa muda mrefu tu kwa kujaribu kubadilisha katiba ama kurekebisha katiba, na yote ikagonga mwamba. So tunaangalia hii katiba ya 2010 iko namna gani? Mbona ni ngumu sana kufanya mabadiliko yote kuihusu? Yote ambayo yamefanyika hapa awali ni kama yanagonga mwamba kila mara. So kwa nini inakuwa hivi? Asante sana, tujumuike pamoja. Namuona PS amefika. Asante sana Tuni, na samahani kwa kutokuwepo kwa muda kiasi, lakini naamini kwamba tutaweza kusonga mbele tu na tukamakinike katika kuchambua siasa zetu, kujifunza kutoka moja kwa mwingine, alafu pia kuwa wale ambao ni wazalendo halisi wanaosimamia haki na umuhimu wa nchi kuwa kitu kimoja, lakini tuwe kitu kimoja kwa haki, tusiwe kitu kimoja kwa uongo ama kwa kudhalilisha wengine. Link ya kutumia kuingia studio ndio hiyo. Karibisha mtu, kumbusha mtu show imeanza tayari kuchambua siasa zetu ipasavyo, kwa hivyo usicheze mbali. So naomba tuanze na hiyo story ya DPP kupendekeza mashtaka kinyume na former governor wa Bungoma Wangamati na current governor wa Bomet anaitwa Hillary jina lake hapo lingine Barchok. So tuangalie hilo swala alafu tuanze kujambua hii ni vita dhidi ya ufisadi ama ni kutufumba macho ili mambo yaendelee pasipo Wakenya kujua ni kipi kinachoendelea. Let's listen out to this and then we'll be back to break it down. Karibu kila mmoja, cheza kama wewe.
The Office of Director of Public Prosecutions has approved charges against Bomet Governor Hillary Barchok and former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati following investigations into alleged procurement fraud, conflict of interest, and misappropriation of public funds. The decision comes barely a month after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission flagged 16 governors, including 5 current governors, for possible prosecution of corruption-related offences. And as NTV's Ruth Sarmoei Jisenge reports, Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi and his Marsabit counterpart Mohamed Mohamud Ali are not off the hook since their files have been sent back to the EACC for review.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP, has concluded investigations into conflict of interest claims against Bomet Governor Hillary Barchok regarding 2.7 million shillings he allegedly received from companies that conducted business with the county between 2019 and 2020 and 2024-2025. The ODPP now directs that Barchok, together with Evans Kipkoech Korir, who is the director of Chemasus Construction Limited, be charged with 2 offences, contrary to the 4 which had been recommended by the EACC. The charges are Chemasus Construction Limited has also been enjoined in the case. The DPP has also directed the arraignment of former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati over claims of conflict of interest over the embezzlement of funds amounting to 70.5 million shillings through private companies. According to EACC, Wangamati received the monies through road projects that channeled money to companies owned by his relatives. According to the ODPP, 11 other people and 7 companies have also been charged with the acquisition of proceeds of crime and fraudulent practice in a procurement proceeding alongside the former governor. In its statement, the ODPP has referred the investigation files on Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi and Marsabit Governor Mohammed Ali back to the EACC for review to address the identified gaps. The move by the ODPP comes at a time when the office has come under sharp scrutiny with recent criticism made by ODM leader Raila Odinga yesterday during the commemoration of Katiba Day.
The Director of Public Prosecutions was also a new and exciting creation, the new constitution. It has largely failed to deliver on the high expectations of Kenyans. Just 1 year before we promulgated the new constitution, in 2009, Attorney General of Kenya was described by a special rapporteur of the United Nations as the embodiment in Kenya of the phenomenon of impunity. That description remains accurately descriptive of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in Kenya today.
Ruth Sarmoi Chesenge, NTV.
Okay. Mambo ni kama hayo tunapoendelea kujumuika na kuchambua siasa zetu. Now, kwa hili suala la Wangamati na Barchok, hawa ni viongozi ambao wamepewa nafasi ya kuangalia rasilimali na kulinda mali ya umma. Na kulingana na mapendekezo haya ambayo hawa wawili wanapaswa kufunguliwa mashtaka, inaonekana kuna ile hali ya kujaribu kutumia mamlaka unayopewa kufanya kazi katika ofisi ya umma kujinufaisha ama kunufaisha wale walio karibu na wewe. Na hili limekuwa swala nyeti katika uongozi wetu kama nchi. Na kama vile nimesema hapo awali, kuna ile dhana ambayo wengi wamepotoka katika kuamini kwamba nafasi ya kuwa kiongozi haswa ama kufanya kazi katika ofisi ya serikali ni nafasi nzuri ya kujitajirisha. And so we don't look at public service as a responsibility to take care of the interest of the country and to take care of the interest of the good of the majority of the people. We have this notion of believing that an opportunity to serve in government or to serve in public office is a right to access public resources and convert them into your personal, private, profiting. Now, this is something that we as a country need to come to terms with, because the more things change, the more things remain the same, and we continue kind of going through the same vicious cycle where we complain about one thing, we vote people into office, and all of them are keen to steal. Now, I'm very, at times, embarrassed to talk about this, because one of the things that I grew up knowing is that when you're a public figure or when you're a public leader, you had a name to defend and you had a family name to defend. You had a legacy to, establish. And so you must be temperate in every way, like the Bible says. You can't be careless. You can't be, free to do anything. Now, what, hurts me most is that we seem to have elderly people who are supposed to be held in high esteem, are given highest office in the land, But they don't seem to feel the responsibility of being in that office. And to make matters worse, they are proud of being thieves. And, you know, people who are messing up what is good for the country. And so is this our culture? I want us to you help me understand this. Is this our culture? Is this how things ought to be done? Or there is something wrong with the picture? Please, I need to hear your input on the same, because being governor and having been given resources to take care of on behalf of the people, where do you get the courage and the capacity to loot the same thing you've been given to take care of? Is it that we no longer believe in this country? Is it that we no longer believe in multiplying resources so that they are enough for everyone? Are public offices or mining, mines for people to mine their wealth and, eat, like the Kidongo book on It Is Our Turn to Eat? Is this what is this all about, or there is more to this? I need to get your input. Please, if you have something to say, please put it, especially those following us on TikTok, put it in the comment section there. We will be able to read it out. And those following us on Facebook as well as on YouTube, please, let's be on the forefront to ensure that we are engaging thoroughly. What is this about our leadership? And then, of course, we have had that debate about youthful leaders and elderly leaders. In fact, that is what is key right now. You seem to be divided right at the center, those that are for elders or old leaders, old people leading the way. And then there are those who are saying, no, it is now the turn for the young tax, is the turn for youthful people to be given responsibility to lead. Now, what is disturbing me, and I pray that you will help me make sense of this, is that majority of our young leaders are the ones implicated in this corruption. Stories, Wangamati is not an old person. This Eric, is called Hillary Barchok, is not an old person. He's not from that, old political class, the age group of Raila Odinga, not even the age group of people like Mother Karua, those we call fossils. The Gen Z call them fossils. Now, they are not in that old, time kind of political foundation of this country. They are young leaders. So if the younger ones that we were looking up to, that they can bring change, that they can be part of the Kenya that we can believe in, that they will be able to establish a new Kenya altogether, are the ones on the forefront in being implicated in graft and mismanagement of public resources. What's going on? Is this the way things should be? Does it mean that the whole country is rotten and everybody's looking for an opportunity to loot what is remaining? Tell me. Those the proponents of young tax and the proponents of old guards, I need to get your opinion on the same. Is it that the old leaders are the problem, or the younger leaders are the problem, or the Kenyan leadership is a problem? And what must we do to get out of this? And so I'm not in any way trying to conclude that whatever the office of the DPP has proposed is what is accurate about these two governors, but we have had this too many times. And so it is important that we look at it and, of course, be able to question what's going on. I have always held the or the notion that as younger leaders need to bring fresh blood into the leadership stream, and that fresh blood needs to be built on something, and that's something. I'm talking about integrity, I'm talking about faithfulness, I'm talking about patriotism, I'm talking about a commitment to the welfare of the majority of Kenyans. This selfish, self-driven, not self-driven, selfish interest quest for leadership must be killed in this country. Will never take off as long as we look at public office or serving in the public office as an opportunity to loot, or as an opportunity to steal, as an opportunity to, make ourselves rich or make our families rich. When will we have a country that belongs to all of us, and not a country that can be used and misused, and the resources that belong to the country are now in people's pockets and people are proud of the same? And when they get, like, for example, now these two governors have been proposed for prosecution, what you're going to see next is them rallying their community or their tribesmen behind them, and then begin to claim that their political opponents are the ones hunting them. And then, of course, it will now result into our tribe is targeted. They don't want the Luyas in leadership, or they don't want the Kalenjin in leadership, and all that. All these games have been played before. How long are we going to sustain them? How long are we going to look the other side when they are happening? And so, ladies and gentlemen, I really would want to invite us into this conversation, into this proper understanding. For one, without any form of prejudice, don't seek for public office to enrich yourself. You are in a wrong place if that is what you are looking for. If you want to make yourself rich, become an entrepreneur, establish your quest into entrepreneurship, and of course, build your empire there. Will not, interfere with you. But using public office to enrich oneself is a curse I don't think you want to have on your doorstep. And this goes to all leaders across, and not only in politics. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And maybe the sad thing about it is that is even in the church. Okay, church nowadays has become an industry, and an industry that is meant to enrich the man of God and build the pastor's family and things like that. The selfish interest into public service needs to be arrested before it is too long. And so I agree with the office of the DPP. Let all that have question marks on their dealings with public resources be dealt with, I would say mercilessly, but I would also say justly in the sense that everybody should get what is due theirs. Be satisfied with the salary the government pays you, and do your best to serve the public into that particular space where you are, you've been assigned to do. Let's stop all this messing up of public resources or converting public resources into personal properties. It is not the way to go, and we should not allow ourselves to fall into that trap. And to the young people that are looking forward to join the politics or join public service, please don't go into public service for wrong reasons. Don't go into public service for wrong reasons. If you don't want to serve Kenyans, you don't want Kenyans to, get what is rightfully theirs. It doesn't matter to you whether the Kenyans sleep hungry or go to bed without food, or they don't get good medical care, they are not getting quality education. If those things don't bother you, don't go into public service. You don't have a heart for it. You don't have a desire for a better Kenya, a better world, for better people. If you don't have, if these things don't annoy you and they don't trouble you, it doesn't matter to you whether Kenyans are having education or not, or whether Kenyans are having healthcare or not, or whether Kenyans are having food enough for everyone. If those things don't bother you, you are not the person for public office. Just do your individual family arrangement of, building your empire, eat, sleep, wake up. Nobody will bother you. But if you indeed have a heart for a better country, a better world, a better, service for every one of us as humans, then get into public space for the interests of the public. Don't get into public space for personal gain. So those who feel like we are already condemned these 2 governors, and of course there are other 11 that are on the radar of the Anti-Corruption Commission, I just would want to invite us that doing the right thing for the right reason is the best way to go about whatever you're doing, especially when it touches on public service. Do your personal things personally for yourself. If you want to harm yourself, it's okay. But don't put the whole country at a risk. Don't put the whole nation at a risk simply because you want to make a kill for yourself. Let's stop this selfishness and stop this self-centeredness. Don't go into public service if you don't have a heart for the majority of the people and you want indeed to multiply the little bread we have to feed everyone. That's what needs to be informing you. That's what needs to be driving you. How do we multiply the limited resources we have to make them enough for everyone? That should be the driving force of you seeking to be an MCA, seeking to be a member of parliament, seeking to be a senator, seeking to be a governor. You should not in any way seek to be governor, president, senator, member of parliament, member of county assembly to become rich. Please don't. Do you want to use public office for personal gain? You are the wrong person for the job. Get off those spaces. Go and tax yourself elsewhere. Make money genuinely in doing business, buying and selling of goods and services. That way you're okay. But don't get into public office and then you begin to buy and sell and contract and, procure and ending up making dirty money. No. And then the worst part of it is that we are dragging our families in the same. You are a thief. You want to make your wife a thief. You want to make your brother a thief. You want to make your cousin a thief. So you are a family of thieves. Get off that. And we need, as a country, to address these issues because we shy away from it and it has kept on eating us with every passing day. So instead of counties bringing services closer to the people, they have just become a devolved, extension of the national graft on the lower level. We shouldn't do that. So public office is not for you if you don't have a heart for the majority of the people and you are not driven for the just treatment of each and everyone, especially the majority of Kenyans. Naomba tafadhali tukaribishane tunapoendelea na mchakato huu, na kama wale ambao mnakuja studio, naomba muwahi mapema ili tukajadili masuala haya pasipo kuficha chochote. Ni muhimu tuangazie masuala haya vivo hivyo kwa uwazi na kwa ukweli. So ili janga la ufisadi ndilo linaonekana ndio janga kubwa sana katika nchi hii, kama vile Rais mstaafu Uhuru Kenyatta alivyosema, kwamba kulingana na takwimu basi Kenya inapoteza bilioni 2 kila siku. Bilioni 2, shilingi bilioni 2 kila siku. Saa hii inaonekana imefika 3 ama 4 kwa sababu kile kinachoendelea katika nchi hii kinatisha sana. Na ili janga la ufisadi inatokea wapi, kwa nini, na haswa kati ya uhusiano wa executive na legislature, yani bunge na ile inaitwa executive kwa Kiswahili sijui ni gani. Mtanisaidia wale ambao mumepitia kwa somo la kweli kweli. So kuna ili swala ambalo limeanzishwa na rais mwenyewe William Ruto, anaposema kwamba wabunge ndio wanadai kulipwa kabla wapitishe miswada katika bunge. Kumaanisha hii masuala ya ufisadi sio masuala ambayo ni ya kufichwa tena, sio masuala ambayo ni fiche, ni masuala yanafanyika sasa kwa uwazi, na kulingana na kile kinachoendelea, kuna watu ambao wanaona ni haki yao kutumia ufisadi kujinufaisha. Tusikilize itlo, alafu ndio tuangalie hivi. Kuna Wetangula, kuna Kingi, alafu kuna ile madai yanayosemwa na William Ruto, kisha majibu yanayotoka kwa Wetangula na Kingi. Yanalenga wapi, kwa nini, na ni vipi ambavyo tutaweza kuepuka kutokana na hili. Karibisha mtu, tumakinike pamoja, like video, hakikisha kwamba wewe ndio sehemu ya kile ambacho tunafanya hapa uko nje. Asante. Tusikilize hii alafu turejee.
Thanks, Herman. Still in politics, is National Assembly Speaker Moses Masika Wetangula walking a tightrope in the corridors of power? Well, President William Ruto's pronouncement that Parliament is drenched in corruption and extortion has rattled the House, igniting a showdown between the executive and the legislature. As Jeff Kirui now reports, what looks like an outburst may well be a carefully scripted political chess game, with Wetangula in the crosshairs in an ongoing realignment ahead of the 2027 general election.
There is money being demanded from the executive, from governors, from ministers, from people in the executive, especially those who go for accountability before our houses of parliament.
In politics, they say nothing happens by chance, and if it does, it was probably planned that way. President William Ruto's stunning declaration that Parliament is corrupt has raised questions about the fate of the House leadership, with attention now fixed on National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula and his Senate counterpart Amason Kingi.
The wise say you give a dog a bad name and hang it.
For some leaders, Ruto's remarks carry more than meets the eye, as political whispers suggest the president's outburst may be a smokescreen, a subtle shot aimed directly at the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula.
When the hyena wants to eat its children, it says they smell like goats. So we need to be alert.
The departure by His Excellency the President from being a consultative and a participatory leader into sustained attacks on Parliament is raising many questions.
This is not the first time Wetangula has been caught in the crossfire of political realignments. On March 9th, 2018, former President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga shook hands at the steps of Harambee House, birthing a truce that altered the country's political landscape. And within a week, Wetangula was ousted as Senate Minority Leader and replaced by Raila's ally James Orengo.
If anybody wants a divorce, it will be noisy, it will be messy, it will be unhelpful, and it will have casualties.
Wetangula became the first casualty of Uhuru-Raila handshake deal, and it was a bitter fall that drove Wetangula into the waiting arms of William Ruto, a partnership that carried him into the 2022 general elections.
Applause.
But history may be repeating itself. Raila Odinga's cooperation deal with President Ruto once again places Wetangula on shaky ground. Raila has long argued that Wetangula cannot serve as both Speaker of the National Assembly and party leader of Ford Kenya, which has members in the very house he presides over.
You want to be a true speaker, he must resign from being a leader of Ford Kenya. And then you can be a neutral speaker, can be able to preside over deliberations of parliament in a neutral way.
Analysts say the writing is on the wall. Wetangula could be staring at another political storm as the country drifts toward the 2027 general elections.
There was some times ago when it was being said that after Gachagua goes, the next one is what? Yes. Because somebody in ODM was supposed to become speaker. Yeah? And that somebody, I think, is qualified to be a speaker because he's a lawyer and all those kind of things. But most important, he's Raila's man. So it was supposed to be part of the deal. And I think Wetangula fought back at the time. And he was spared.
Insiders say Wetangula has become a marked man within and outside his Kenya Kwanza coalition. Within Kenya Kwanza, his refusal to dissolve Ford Kenya and fold into Ruto's UDA has put him in the red book. From outside, the arithmetic of accommodating new political partners in government further complicates his survival.
There are these tensions in there, and the need to accommodate Raila's wishes become part of the dissolutioning activities. And that's why now the team that won 2022 looks confused and in disarray. And the president is trying to figure out how he can retain his job. What are they saying? Tutam.
Wetangula is now between a rock and a hard place because MPs are pressing him to invoke standing orders and summon the president to table evidence of corruption against the August House. Damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. If he does, he risks breaking ties with the presidency. If he does not, he risks a rebellion from MPs baying for his ouster.
Both speakers of the House must be put on notice that they are working on a very dangerous path. And members are thinking otherwise, that if this accountability is taken a notch higher, they might become the casualties of what is happening. And they will go before we go.
For Wetangula, the battle lines are drawn. Once again, he finds himself walking the fine line between loyalty and survival in the country's unforgiving political chessboard. Jeff Kirui, KTN.
Thanks, Kirui.
Okay, there you have it. The political chess game that is at play right now. William Ruto placing the graft accusation right at the doorstep of Wetangula and Kingi, who are the president of the legislature at the moment. And that is the blame game taking place. But of interest is the response, especially of the parliamentarians, as well as that of Wetangula. You can see from those rhetorics that Wetangula is playing victim already and feeling targeted. And according to him, he's just being vilified for no apparent reason. So he says the hyena wants to eat its children and now accuses them to be smelling like goats. And then, of course, what that Cherargei is talking about, if the two speakers of the two houses don't come out forcefully and be able to challenge what William Ruto is claiming, that the parliament is a house of extortionists and bribery demands, they will be the first casualties. And so we can see here, we are no longer even, focusing on the war against graft. We are actually looking on how to escape from what has leaked out that we had kind of put under control. Now, we have a history of a captured parliament. And that captured parliament, in my opinion, has been the main cause of our slow advancement as a country, because the legislature that is supposed to provide oversight and be able to cut on the excesses that are affecting the country negatively has accepted to be transactional. Transactional means if you can pay for it, we can allow it to pass. But if you can't pay for it, we'll stop it. And so the scrutiny of the laws, the policies, the amendments that are proposed, the acts of parliament, is no longer a serious matter for consideration. We've had the confession of, I think was like Kipio Nyandarua, women rape, who says that the 2024 finance bill was too voluminous and members of parliament are very busy. They can't read everything that is in the bill. And so they passed it without knowing what they are passing. Now, that to me speaks volumes, okay? That nobody wants to read if they have been paid to pass the bill. And if this is the case, then the association of the watchman and the thief places the whole house at risk. And as Kenyans, are we supposed to lie low and accept that this is the normal way of operating? Or we should rise up and demand the constitutional way of dealings, that the executive and the legislature are supposed to check each other and not to work together against Kenyans. And that will lead us into the conversation of the next point. But before we get into that next point, you see now, instead of Wetangula denying or accepting whether there's graft in the legislature, he's already playing and crying victim. And then you see members of parliament, instead of them coming out and say, if you indeed gave us the money, bribed us, come and give us the evidence. The members of parliament want to scrutinize and find out what is it with William Ruto's claim that they are transactional and they are always bribed to pass bills. And they want that interrogated from the floor of the House, where William Ruto should appear either before a committee or before the whole House and be able to be questioned. But now Wetangula and Kingi, remember, they are in that office courtesy of UDA support, because our speakers in the two houses are voted in, and usually the majority party will carry the day, since we vote without thinking or vote without, putting merit as a main consideration on who becomes the speaker. And so we end up having a one-sided speaker made speaker by the majority, and so he serves the interests of the majority without caring how the minority may feel about what is going on. And that, from the word go, those people are in that office are already lame before they get into that office. They're already divided, they're already biased before they get into that office. And so at the end of the day, no matter what we do, Wetangula will vote and push for what is favorable to the executive, because the executive is the one that put him in that office as the speaker. And so it is very difficult for that kind of, free legislature that is able to hold to account the executive. It is already lame from the word go. And like now what the members of parliament are demanding, for the motion to be brought into the floor of the House, or for somebody to be summoned to be questioned in the floor of the House, requires the approval of the speaker. Now, if Wetangula owes allegiance to William Ruto and he has to serve the interest of William Ruto, will he approve censure motion against William Ruto? Will he approve impeachment against William Ruto? Because without his approval, nothing gets to the floor of the House. Now, these are some of the things that we must, as Kenyans, relook at, even as there is a call for relooking at the constitution. We'll also be looking into that later on. But what I want you to see here is that the usual games of blame this, cry foul, cry victim, and then you will get away with whatever graft that is leveled against you has stayed with us for too long. And as Kenyans, we need to now begin to demand that people should carry their own cross. Yes, people should be allowed to carry their own cross to wherever they are going, and not this aspect of us crying foul and crying victim, when we indeed are responsible for what should be going on. Yes, because Wetangula needs to tell us, bills being generated from the parliament, are they genuine? Are they in the interest of the masses? Are they constitutional? And especially the Ruto administration is, I mean, you know, has broken record in passing and ratifying bills that are unconstitutional. And all this is beginning now to, you know, give us clear understanding on what goes on. That there is no proper scrutiny, there is no proper checking, there's no proper, you know, analyzing of the proposed changes, simply because some important people have been paid and passing the bill is now the order of the day. This is too dangerous for this country. It's too dangerous for the Kenyan people. And so as Kenyans, we need to hold our leaders to account. And then, of course, as we also throw in the aspect of the general elections that are coming, please, can we as Kenyans decide once and for all that we will not vote idiots into parliament, we will not vote lazy, and of course, people that don't have our interests at heart into office. They're buying your way into parliament. They're buying your way into the county assembly, buying your way into presidency or governorship or senate is the beginning of our downfall as a people. Let us allow ourselves to demand that the best of us should lead us, not the worst. It is crazy that in this country, we have the best of the best, but they are blocked and, you know, prevented from getting into the leadership position because the worst of the worst are the ones that know how to get into leadership. Something needs to happen to us. And so as Kenyans, are we ready to continue with mediocrity, or we want excellence? Are we ready to ensure that the best among us lead the way? And I've used this example before, and I relate again to us. Our Harambee Stars, okay, team has performed exemplary well in the ongoing CHAN whatever tournaments or championship. And when you look at the team, look at the coach, look at the technical bench, then look at the players. They never take the worst player on the pitch. They look for the best among the players to put on the first team. So in football, we don't want to use the worst. We want to use the best. Athletics, we don't take everybody and send them to the Olympics or send them to the marathon, London Marathon, or whichever marathon. We take them through rigorous exercise. We try them at every levels, and only the best are the ones that go for World Cup, are the ones that go for Olympics, are the ones that go for whatever marathon that is being run where. Now, what actually happens when it comes to political leadership? That this criteria is now forgotten. this criteria is now pushed in the back, that it doesn't matter who is who. As long as he can get this majority vote from this majority region, from this majority, he's good. He's good to go. He's good to go. Just get the Mount Kenya vote, combine it with Rift Valley vote. You're good to go. You're good to go. It doesn't matter whether you know what you're doing. It doesn't matter whether you love this country. It doesn't matter whether you're able to divide the resources of this country equally and safeguard every Kenyan. As long as you can get the numbers, get the presidency. Now, I believe that's the beginning of our downfall, that we throw away every aspect of considering people that are quality leaders, faithful leaders, integrous leaders, those that have the interests of the country to be given the opportunity to lead. We now use a criteria that doesn't in any way give us the best. That the truth is, being supported by the majority doesn't make you a better leader. Yes, you can mobilize, you can buy people, you can buy support, but your quality will remain the same no matter who supports you or who doesn't support you. And so as a country, we must have a relook on who becomes a leader. And so what we are seeing playing right now between Wetangula, between William Ruto, between the members of parliament and the executive is a scripted game that they're playing on us. And I can see the main thing here is to discredit our demand for quality. Yes, discredit our demand for quality. And if there is one place that William Ruto has perfected, is in throwing mud on everybody so that we are all dirty. Okay? Since he cannot clean himself and he cannot, prove that he is the best among us, he wants to make everybody the worst so that he becomes the best among the worst. I don't know if you understand that. Okay? Instead of going a notch higher in ensuring that quality standards are upheld and quality, attitudes, quality, character, quality mindsets, you task yourself to become a better person. Instead of him now working to become a better person, he has resorted into marring everybody so that he remains the best. I've asked this question, I'll ask you again. In the hearts of hearts, without any undue influence, tribal, political, religious, or otherwise, in the hearts of hearts, you as a Kenyan, do you believe William Ruto is the best we have in this country? That there's nobody better than William Ruto to lead this country? Are you at home with that? That if we placed all the sons of this country and all the daughters of this country and all the fathers and the mothers and the aunties and the uncles of this country, if we placed them at Uhuru Park and decided to look for the best of the best that we have, will we end up with William Ruto? Food for thought. Coming back shortly. Please keep it a Sound Candy Talk. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook as well as TikTok. Kama una swali, weka hapo kwa comment section. Tutaweza kukujibu kwa wale ambao mnatufuata kwa TikTok. Nashukuru wote ambao mnajumuika nasi. Sijui wavyele wangu wamekwenda wapi, lakini tuko hapa, tutachambua, tutahakikisha kwamba unaelewa kile kinachoendelea. Kumbuka sisi tuko hapa to make sense of our politics as we ease life for the masses. We'll be back shortly. Keep it right here.
Tunazunguka kote kote mchana kutwa kukuletea taarifa na matokeo ya habari kutoka pembe zote za ulimwengu. Jioni tunaweka mduara wa kujadili taarifa zizo hizo kwa mapana na marefu. Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki kwenye matukio ya siku saa 2 jioni kwenye Sound Candid Talk. Matukio ya siku, makao makuu ya habari kuu ya siku. Sound Candid Talk Live News.
The Pharisees couldn't stand him, but they found out they couldn't stop him. Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. Herod couldn't kill him. Death couldn't hang him, and the grave couldn't hold him. Yeah! That's my king. That's my king. Hallelujah, yes, we are naga. Hallelujah, yes, we are naga. Hallelujah, yes, we are naga. Hallelujah, yes, we are naga.
You've dreamed about the perfect wedding, the dress, the vows, the happily ever after. But let's ask the most important question. Before you say I do, are you truly ready for the lifelong commitment that comes after the honeymoon period fades? Bernard Ngozzi's groundbreaking ebook Are You Marriage Ready? Is the ultimate guide to building a successful, lasting marriage. This isn't just another relationship book, it's a heart-to-heart conversation that prepares you for one of life's biggest decisions, getting married. Are you choosing love or just infatuation? Are you building a marriage or just planning a wedding day?
Reading this book was a game changer. I realized I wasn't as ready as I thought, but now I'm on the right path.
Don't wait until it's too late. Invest in your future. Download Are You Marriage Ready today. Link in the description below. Your future spouse deserves the best. Are you ready?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation on Sound Candid Talk. Please let us know where you're watching us from and if you're able to get us loud and clear. I trust that what you're looking at is interesting and, of course, important to you as it is to us in terms of placing value on what becomes of our country, because what goes wrong with this country goes wrong with every one of us. And what goes right with this country goes right with every one of us, including those who are out to make this country not so much enjoyable, are a part of either what we need to get rid of or what we need to fix. Because the best of this country is when each and every one of us as a people are catered for, and we are well captured within the management, the running of the affairs of this country. And the running of the affairs of this country need to always and ever be in the interests of the majority of the Kenyan people. So public office is meant for public service, and public service is meant the welfare of the public, not collect taxes from the public, use it for personal gain. That is misplaced priorities. Now, before we went on a break, we were looking at the complaint by William Ruto against the parliament on the claims of bribery and extortion. Now, I want us to take that same conversation a notch higher by now looking at the leaks, okay? The leaks of the conversation between the executive and the parliament. Let's find exactly where is our main problem. Is it that our constitution is crafted wrongly, or we have found a loophole to, join arms of government that are supposed to be separate and are supposed to check each other, are now getting married, and in their marriage, they are now agreeing against the masses that they are supposed to defend. I want you to look at this and then, of course, give your opinion. Why is the Kenyan Parliament now, confessing on how they communicate with the executive, especially when there is high-stake bills that need to be passed, and the executive badly needs them passed without changes? And so the scrutinizing and the checks and balances, and of course the citing the excesses that the executive may be visiting on the masses, no longer working in our parliament because of this unholy relationship between the legislature and the executive. Let's just look at this and then get back to break it down.
Vera, Mora, KTN.
Now get this, in theory, Parliament is supposed to be the house of the people, the temple of debates, and the guardian of the Constitution.
But in practice, Kenya's Parliament has turned into something else, a stage misused to pass bills that oppress citizens.
Today, we expose some of the messages shared through the WhatsApp group involving MPs, the president, and his allies, messages that reveal how they plot to pass laws that benefit themselves with little regard for the ordinary Kenyan.
Our reporter, Haman Kamariki, with more.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Remember how former Deputy President Rigathi Geoffrey Gachagua was removed from office? Meetings ran late into the night, hurried in an unusual manner. Even the Member of Parliament who had been the custodian of the agenda, Mwengi Mutuse, left us with more questions than answers. Many were shocked by the evidence presented.
I will demonstrate with affidavits. I will demonstrate with documents.
Then came the 2024 Finance Bill, the one that sparked nationwide protest across the country. Kenyans rejected it, but most MPs insisted it must pass. The leaked messages in our possession suggest that MPs have chosen to be mere puppets of President William Ruto. When he says jump, they don't ask why, they say how high. President William Ruto is seen sending a WhatsApp message to the MPs at 10:14 p.m. instructing them to approve the nomination of Professor Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. He says, and I quote, "Teammates, we thank our Almighty God for bringing us this far. We trust God in all situations and commit our nation to Him. I have just forwarded the name of my nominee for Deputy President to the National Assembly for your consideration and vote. I request you to kindly consider the nominee positively. God bless you, and I am entirely grateful for the support. WSR." During the last year's Gen Z protest, Senator Aaron Cheriot is seen in the same group saying, and I quote, "At the height of Gen Z protest, we managed to slow down internet, and that saved the day. You cannot do that with Starlink." A clear sign of collusion. In another instance, Governor Irungu Kang'ata congratulates the president for appointing Professor Kithure Kindiki as deputy president after Gachagua's removal. And this does not leave Gladys Bosch-Shilley, the deputy speaker of the National Assembly, out either. She has a fair share of this discussion. According to lawyer Kiroko Ndegwa, this shows that Parliament has been captured.
We have a parliament that is full of bunch of rent seekers who cannot survive by their principle. They need a favor here, a favor there, and no wonder why even they are willing to reduce that house by sexualizing everything. You'll see members of parliament being paraded by the PA to the president. Oh, huyu akilala kwa kitanda simtalala vizuri. That's what that's the best they can give.
And what's the way forward?
It purely means that Kenyans, we are on our own. That it is Time is right for us to exercise our sovereignty directly, because indirectly it's no longer working.
For millions of citizens, the betrayal is clear. Parliament has stopped being the people's watchdog and become the president's echo chamber. Haman Kamariki, KTN.
Staying in the August House, the Senate is this week expected to decide the fate of besieged Kericho Governor Dr. Eric.
Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, on what really goes on and what probably determines where the parliament votes and how they vote. And it appears that the thief and the watchman are in harmonious agreement against the owners of the house. Oh, this is a very sad reality, because when you are elected as a member of parliament, you are elected by the people and you need to be in parliament for the people. The place of being in parliament for the executive, for the president, for the governor, for your tribe or for your region, it's not in the constitution. For us to be a constitutional country, we must uphold the rule of law. And the rule of law has limits, has separation of powers. And those separation of powers are meant for checks and balances. And so from these leaks of members of parliament having a conversation, and of course, William Ruto being in their WhatsApp group and, pushing them to nominate whoever he wants nominated, pass whatever bill they want to pass, he wants passed. It's a sure sign that we are courting a failed system in terms of what it's supposed to do and what it's actually doing. And this needs not to be tolerated, especially by Kenyans. And if we really want this country to function the way it is meant to function according to the Constitution, there has to be a deliberate cutting of these unholy links between the executive and the legislature. When the watchman works in good harmony with the thief, the owners of the house are not safe. The properties in that house are not safe. So the parliament that's supposed to be the people's watchdog has been won over by the person that they are supposed to be, checking to ensure that he doesn't hurt and he doesn't misuse the resources that belong to the public. This is not how things ought to be. And so as Kenyans, where are we going with this? Are we going to allow it to continue? Because one of my woes with Kenyans is that when something is done over and over, we accept it as the norm and we disregard even what the law says, simply because that is how it is done, that is how it has been done, and that is how previous administrations have been doing. In my opinion, that is not even a point of argument. If something has been going on and it's been wrong, it continues to be wrong until it is proven otherwise. And so, as Kenyans, are we going to allow our constitution to be turned into a piece of paper that has no powers, has no teeth, that is not, being implemented in the interest of the people, and let the current administration or the coming administration get away with their stepping outside the boundaries? I don't think so. And this even includes the previous administration. And so this aspect of the parliament being settled so that it passes bills without scrutiny or without objection, without resistance, is not how the constitution needs to be operated, and it is not healthy for the country. It's not healthy for the country. And I will invite you to look at how the country has progressively, advanced or failed to advance. And maybe we should just start with 2013, okay? The Huruto administration. There are some of the bad laws that were passed at that time, the Huruto administration, 2013, 2017, 2022. Especially 2013, 2017, we had a lot of bad laws. You see the law that they are using to abduct and terrorize our young people in the name that they are accusing them to be terrorists because they participated into public protests and demos. Those laws were passed during the Huruto administration, and it was mainly passed in that struggle between the tyranny of numbers and the tyranny of sense, okay? Where numbers prevailed over sense. Now, I'm not saying this against anyone, but I would want you to understand that numbers alone are not enough. When it comes to legislating, when it comes to, establishing policy for governance, we need tyranny of sense. We don't need tyranny of numbers. And so some of the bad laws that have come from Parliament have come on the premise and on the altar of us sacrificing sense, sacrificing brains, sacrificing foresight on the altar of numbers. As many of that opinion say, I, and then it's over. Nobody checks to find out 50 years from now, how will this law affect the country? 10 years from now, how will this law affect the country? We are no longer thinking ahead. We're just saying I, and things pass because we've been asked to say I. And so we need as a people to, have some depth. And also as Kenyans, we need to have some demands on the list of what we can tolerate from the Parliament, the list of what we can tolerate from the executive. And otherwise, we can't continue like this. And so it's just I, and then bad laws. When the law is taken to the courts, it is found unconstitutional. How can over 300 people look into the law, pass the law, take it to the president for ascension? It is assented. And then when it goes to court, it's found unconstitutional. How can over 300 people scrutinizing one law not be able to tell these loopholes on whether this is agreeing with the constitution or not? And so what we have is a bunch of lazy people that we have sent into Parliament, and instead of them doing what they are supposed to do, they are busy transacting, negotiating, cutting deals, all of it to allow bad laws to pass. That, to me, is an insult to this country, and it's disrespect to the Kenyan people. You're drawing a salary to defend Kenyan people, and then you go to agree with the executive against the Kenyan people. And you still want us to call you honorable? No. Hell no. And so, Kenyans of goodwill, let's wake up and say no to this madness. And so those leaks from the Parliament needs to, be something that we should take serious at the moment. And then, of course, not only take serious, but be able to analyze them and let them inform us, okay? Let them inform us. When we go to the ballot, don't elect idiots. Don't elect selfish, self-centered people. Don't elect people that you cannot trust with your life. There is was it a joke or somebody was raising a serious matter, and it shows on how much we don't think seriously on matters. So this person was raising a matter, saying that those people who mistreat house girls. You mistreat your domestic. They are called domestic managers nowadays. Now you are at work maybe 8 hours, and then you mistreat your house girl who is taking care of your child. Your house girl doesn't eat together with you. She eats hidden in the kitchen there. And then, of course, she eats leftovers. She cannot eat with you. She cannot eat the same food with you. You are making life unbearable for her. You insult her. You slap her. You say all manner of hurtful things against her. And then, having done all that, you still leave your infant, your child, helpless child, in the care of that same person. Now, I want you to look at that picture. Okay? You mistreat her, then you leave the child in her care. Okay, now let's reverse it. If you are the one, what would you do to the child? And so we are doing the same thing. Okay? You want to mishandle the person taking care of you. How is that now possible? Does that make sense? So we as a people need to come to our senses. How do you mistreat the same person, then after that put the child in their care? Leave the child in their care for 8 hours. Leave the child in their care for 12 hours. Some of the people leave their child, the house girl is the one raising the children. They are on one trip after another, one trip after another. But when they come home, instead of appreciating the house girl, appreciating this particular person for taking good care of the children, they see slap the person, insult the person, mistreat the person. Do you know what that's equal to? In my school of thought, it's madness. You are insane. Yeah. Your head has gone banana. You're not thinking rightly. And so it's the same thing here, okay? We have assigned members of parliament to go to parliament and defend us, to go to parliament and take care of us, to go to parliament and ensure that nothing bad coming from the executive arrives at our doorstep. What have they chosen to do? Instead of them speaking for us, defending us, shielding us from bad leadership, bad policies, bad legislation that is being proposed by the executive or otherwise, instead they have decided to agree with the executive to punish us for electing them. They have decided to agree with the executive to mistreat us for electing them. Yes, they have accepted to agree with the executive to make life unbearable for us for electing them. Now, you see the paradox of all this? So as Kenyans, I hope you're checking your list. You're checking your member of parliament, checking your member of county assembly, and see, is he speaking for you? Is he speaking in the interest of the majority of Kenyans? Or is he speaking for his personal gain? And the transactional parliament need to die. And the best time to kill the transactional parliament is now. Send the crooks home. Send the compromised home. Send the sold out home. So that we can have a clean parliament that we know nothing will come from that parliament that will hurt the public. Nothing will come from that parliament that will, mess education, mess healthcare, mess food security. Look at what's going on, okay? There's now a debate between the local rice and the imported rice. There's now the syndicate of imported rice being packaged in local packages so that it's sold as local when it is being imported. All this corruption and all this manner of mix and match is taking place under the watch of the watchdog. This is very sad. And so, let's wake up and stop the evil. Let's wake up and stop these bad operations. Get back to constitutionalism for us to be safe and for each one in this, our great country, to be safe. I believe in the Kenya for all Kenyans, and I want this Kenya for all Kenyans so bad. I can't wait to see the realization of Kenya for all Kenyans. There are time will come when it will not matter whether the president is from Central or the president is from the coast or the president is from Northeastern. Every Kenyan will be safe and secure, and every Kenyan will have access to all the resources without the care of where they come from, their name, their skin color, their level of education. That every Kenyan will be safe and secure. And so we have a lot that we can, we need to work on. And then, of course, we also need to learn from those that are, doing better. And Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso, comes into view on this matter. It's a wonderful program that he has launched out of young people. I think they have been taken, and for, I think, a period of 90 days or something, they will be participating into national building. And these are primary school going young people that are participating into community work, building the roads, building the schools, building the hospitals, and all that. He is inculcating into the young people the reality of our country can only be built by us, and our resources are meant for the good of every one of us. So in my assessment, he's trying to prevent the bad, selfish approach to leadership that has been going on for ages, not to get into the head and the hearts of the young people, so that the future of Burkina Faso will not be, end up in the wrong hands of selfish people who want to sell the country, make the money for themselves, and destroy the resources that are meant for the good of all Kenyans. And probably as we begin to conclude what we're analyzing, we as the Kenyan people, I saw Mbadi on TV today, and he was doing a lot of defending of the government and all that. But he didn't have answers to some of Sam's questions that were being leveled. And one thing that I have, wondered about this country is, how many resources do we have in this country that are national? Okay, we have the national. Where do I start? National Library. We have National Park. We have, we have the port, National Port. We have the airport. We have we have all manner of parastatals. Okay. Now I'm leaving this with you for you to help me. Okay, and of course think about it. Who knows how much is made by all this for Kenya? Do we have any figure that we get this from tourism? We get this from the port. We get this from the airport. We get this from, because we have national resources, but what comes from those things, nobody knows. Now, what Ibrahim Traore is doing in Burkina Faso is nationalizing national resources. Nationalizing national resources means whatever that is earned from those resources are earned in the name of the people of the country. And everyone in the country is entitled to what comes from those resources. The gold, the minerals, the whatever, whatever it is that is being generated and of course earned from the Burkina Faso soil must end up on the Burkina Faso's table for every one of the people. And so if the gold is able to pay for wherever, what's called foreign exchange, okay, then that's why he has banned all taxes, cancelled the taxes. There is no need for taxing people, okay? It's the license for operating business. There is exemption. Now, how come in Kenya we have gold? In Kenya we have oil. In Kenya we have what don't we have in this country? We have almost everything, yet the taxes are being raised every day. Okay, and demand for higher taxes are, being placed every day. Don't you see anything wrong with this picture? That we don't know how much we are making out of our minerals, and we have divers of those minerals, and they are being mined in this country every day and sold. But where are they ending? In somebody's pocket. Our tourism sector, we go around the country, around the world, promoting Kenya, marketing Kenya. Tourists come. How much is made from that? Where does it go? Who profits from that? Because if you're paying full taxes and the government is fully earning from national resources, okay, where is the earning from the national resources? Because when we go to parliament and we are presenting budget, we are never told that the Tsavo National Park brings this, and Amboseli brings this, and Nairobi brings this. And then now, because of this, the tourism will take care of education, and the gold will take care of agriculture. And then so that the Kenyans can enjoy being Kenyans, because some of the bills, they're being paid for. But healthcare, they are telling you should register in SHA if you want to be treated. Registration in SHA, they say now you must pay it fully, yearly, not monthly again. Then even after paying, you still go to a hospital and your name will not show up. The system will be down. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. No. Let's demand right answers. So one of the things that I would, in my wild thinking, demand from Badi is first of all to give us an audit of what is it that the government earns for the Kenyan people. How much is it? Then how much should Kenyan people add to in the contribution towards taxation, so that their budget is made by harnessing and of course putting to maximum use of the national resources. And the profiting from those national resources need to profit Kenyans, not only in providing services, but also ensuring that the least privileged in the country, and of course those who are still tamarking, are able to have sustenance. And that sustenance needs to be coming from the government, because the government is supposed to ensure that the national resources are utilized rightly for the welfare of the people. And so, drawing lessons from Burkina Faso, we need to know how much is coming in this country through the port, how much is coming through the airport, how much is coming through the national parks. When we know that, then we look for the deficit. But nobody wants that subject to be discussed. Nobody wants those questions to be raised, because the national park is being run for somebody's profiting. No. Hell no. Let's reject this madness and demand what is rightfully ours. Ladies and gentlemen, we are taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be calling it a day as we look on the hard, tall order that has been placed on the constitutional amendment. Is this good for Kenya? Is it not good for Kenya? Appreciate everyone who is joining. And of course, I believe some of us have not been we have not been on full time. And so some people have decided to go to sleep instead of wait for the show. But I thank God for every one of you that is endeavoring to ensure that the show kicks off and, of course, continues. So we want to look at the attempts to make amendments on the Constitution and the hurdles that have had to be, placed on the way of those that have proposed the amendment of this Constitution. And so I want us to get a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking onto that and then we close. Let's look at this as we return.
The Pharisees couldn't stand him, but they found out they couldn't stop him. Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. Herod couldn't kill him. Death couldn't handle him, and the grave couldn't hold him. Yeah! That's my king. That's my king. Hallelujah, yes, we are naga. Hallelujah, yes, we are naga.
Sound Candy Talk is timely, accurate, professional, and affordable. You have a complaint or compliment, any question concerning our broadcasting, contact us soundcandytalk@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and X at Sound Candy Talk. Call us on 0718 45 45 85.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go straight as we look at Katiba, our constitution, and the hurdles it has survived the attempt for amendments. Is it healthy for the country or unhealthy for the country? And of course, how good is this constitution for this great country? From there, we'll be calling it a day or a night from depending on where you're following the show from. But let's just get this. Our constitution, the new constitution, the most celebrated, hailed constitution. Has it been a blessing to Kenya or a curse? Let's look at it.
Now, as the country celebrates 15 years since the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, there have been several attempts to amend the Constitution.
The efforts have, however, faced hurdles due to the complexity of the amendment process and concerns that some proposals would fundamentally alter the Constitution.
The opposition and government at one point have initiated the process that has hit a dead end after courts declared them null and void.
Why has it been difficult to amend the Constitution, and which sections have been pushed for amendments?
KTN's Daniel Kariuki interrogates.
Articles 256 and 257 of the Kenyan Constitution stipulates the two ways in which the Constitution can be amended: a parliamentary initiative or a popular initiative. Both processes require public participation. There have been attempts to change the constitution using both ways over the last 12 years. Perhaps the most memorable attempt is the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020 that emerged from a political initiative launched by former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, the leading contenders for the presidency in 2017. The initiative, called the Building Bridges Initiative, was touted as a means to improve governance and prevent future post-election violence.
Only a fool will say that there are no issues in this country that do not require addressing. So let us address them as adults.
We said we want to bequeath a better society for the coming generation of our country. It is not about making Uhuru Kenyatta a prime minister or Raila Odinga a president.
Elected by the people.
The process hit a dead end when the courts ruled that the government-backed plan was irregular, illegal, and unconstitutional. The plan was vehemently opposed by the then Deputy President William Ruto and had split the government down the middle.
Let us not lie to the people. BBI was dangerous for Kenya, and we thank God it failed.
Previously in 2014, the opposition CORD kicked off a campaign to collect 1 million signatures from voters. CORD principals, then led by ODM's Raila Odinga and Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, formally presented Okoa Kenya referendum draft bill and the signatures to the Independent Election Boundaries Commission, IEBC. The polls body would later dismiss the plan, ruling it did not meet the 1 million signatures threshold. Recently, National Assembly unanimously passed the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2025 to anchor the National Government Constituency Fund, NGCDF, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, NGAF, into the Constitution. This has already faced an uproar from section of lawyers.
I hold the strong view that the Constitution is not so delicate a legal instrument that must be subjected to surgeries so often.
I feel like we should give the Constitution a chance because it's a really good document. The implementation process is where the problem comes in.
Will wave it to the crowd.
Numerous attempts and proposals for the change have been made through popular initiative, parliamentary bills and referendums. The proposal focusing on issues like the structure of government, power distribution, gender representation, election dates, and reducing the cost of governance, with some changes being blocked on the grounds they would fundamentally alter the Constitution. Perhaps one lingering question among many people is how and what it will take to change Kenya's 2010 Constitution.
The problem that we have here is one of implementation. There is no deficiency in the Constitution, at least for now.
This document has succeeded in securing power in the hands of citizens, the beauty of a nation.
But should the Constitution be amended 15 years later, or it should remain intact?
The preamble starts with "we, the people." So it means it's a collective voice of Kenyans as a whole. So who is asking for amendment of the Constitution? Is it the citizens? No.
Even as we celebrate this milestone of the Constitution, calls for amendments must be discarded.
Drafters and experts generally hold that the 2010 Kenyan Constitution was intended to be difficult to amend, making it a living document, but not one easily changed by those in power, envisioned as a process of the people's initiative.
There are articles under the Constitution that might need changing, but we have to do it in a sane regime.
There's some of the recommendations that come from the NADCO report, especially talking about staggering of elections, because we normally have all the elections for, 6 positions at once, and they're recommending that maybe we need to split it so that we're doing the elections at different times.
Whether Kenya's constitution should be amended is a subject of ongoing debate, with proponents arguing there is need for adjustment, while those opposed saying the constitution needs to be protected. Some experts opine that the constitution must be implemented fully and a referendum law enacted to guide future amendments. Since 2013, there has been efforts to amend the constitution. The National Dialogue Committee presented a report that suggests an amendment to the same constitution. Will this be another route to try to amend the 2010 constitution? Only time will tell. Daniel Kariuki, KTN, Nairobi.
Okay, there you have it. All attempts to amend the constitution has always made a strong resistance, and clearly put out there is that the framers of the constitution had it in mind that the attempt to amend it required a majority of Kenyans deciding. In fact, there are some clauses that are not subject to amendment except through a referendum. And this is understandable because of our history as a people, whereby in the previous constitution was torn into pieces and ended up being useless because of numerous amendments that created and, of course, established an imperial presidency that was a problem to the masses, I would say. And so the framers of the constitution were responding to that. And that has its own good or its own disadvantages on exactly what the rule of law is all about. That when we make a law reacting on something or responding on something without envisioning the complexity of the future application of the same, we may end up becoming irrelevant because what we responded to can be, done away with, and it's no longer in existence. And then, and so the application ceases to have any meaning. But having said that, the constitution is not cast in stone. It is meant to be adjusted based on the prevailing realities. And as a country, we are diverse. And some of our differences are very sharp, and they place the whole country at a huge risk. And therefore, in my opinion, we as the Kenyan people need to allow ourselves to scrutinize and recheck this constitution. I agree with the law minds there that are demanding that no amendments until the constitution has been fully implemented. And it beats all understanding from where I sit on why 15 years later, the constitution is yet to be fully implemented. Why is that the case? Even the commission for implementation of the constitution was to last for 6 years. It did. So it expired. But the implementation of the constitution is still a debate 15 years later. Why is that the case? It simply means there are people who don't want the new constitution implemented. And probably they could be the ones pushing for the amendment so that probably they can get an opportunity to convert this constitution that is for the people, by the people, instead of serving the interests of the people, to serve the interests of the elite. It's a very sad, but, a disturbing reality. I don't see why 15 years later we have not been able to fully implement the constitution. What is hindering? What is standing on the way? Who is afraid of the new constitution being implemented? And so Kenyans, we need to find out who is this delaying the implementation of the constitution, who is standing on the way for the implementation of the constitution. Like things that are right, forthright, devolved services, devolved, what are they called, functions, needs to be funded. But we have this game being played between the executive, the national government and the county governments, that the national government releases healthcare as a devolved function. And then they want to retain the control of the funds that goes to healthcare by retaining the Ministry of Health and ensuring that all the money for healthcare passes through the Ministry of Health. Now, this confusion of duplicating responsibilities and making the constitution unable to function, it's a game we don't need. And that is why I pray that we may have a president that has constitutionalism as an agenda, and of course ensure that this constitution is implemented once and for all, and people are led to function in their position freely, and anybody violating the constitution to be held responsible. But this putting brakes on everything and trying to, manipulate the country to believe that this has to happen before this happens is unnecessary. The constitution has been drafted, has been passed, it's been declared. So what remains is its implementation. Now let's fast track the implementation fully. I agree, let it be fully implemented, and there we can have some adjustment where necessary. And one place that I would advocate for adjustment is wherever the governance structure. The governance structure does not sit well. I am not, and I don't understand why it is still held that the head of government should be the head of state. I think those should be two different entities and should be held by two different people, so that the state remains a state no matter which government we have. And that if the government is bad, we can chase away the government and still retain the state as a people and as one people. But this aspect of marrying the state and government makes it impossible to change a bad government, because touching the government is touching the state. And so whoever brought about this, they may have meant well, but I don't think it was well thought out. That's what we have had, of course, from independence. But has it worked for Kenya? I don't think so. We have endured too much of bad leadership, all of it because you cannot get away of you cannot get rid of this government because he's the head of state and the head of government. So you don't know when to sack the president, because he has to go, and when he goes, you don't have head of state, you don't have head of government. Was it deliberately put there to preserve bad leadership? That's a matter that we need to address. And so in my proposal, I would want for us to have a separate head of state from head of government. And that, of course, is what was, proposed in the Bomet's draft of the new constitution, where we have a parliamentary system where the head of government is the prime minister. And when the prime minister is not performing, we chase the person. We have the president as head of state and continues to be the leader of the nation. The same way we have in Britain, okay? The head of state, head of government. And that's why we have had several prime ministers in in Britain, within the same phase. When somebody is not performing, you send them away, bring another one. Same thing goes on in Israel. And so I believe we need that in this country badly. If we had that, I don't think the William Ruto administration will still be here. And so that's a matter that needs to be relooked at urgently, even as we push for the full implementation of the constitution. Then, of course, that matter also discussed of, putting all the elections on a single day in one place. Why is that the case? Can we be able to break down this election so that we can have National Assembly elections, then we have whatever county assembly elections, then the presidential election should be separated from these other elections? Because this mix and match is part of the confusion that ends up even making the rigging possible because everybody is on their own. Nobody's scrutinizing the presidential election, and it also beats my understanding because the IEBC operation demands, as a returning officer or presiding officer, the first ballots to be counted are presidential candidates, okay? They're the first to be counted, they're the first to be declared. Then what happens in between, okay? That we count the one for president, count the one for governor, count the one for senator, count the one for women rep, count the one for member of parliament, then member of county assembly. But now when all this is said and done, the results, okay? The results are now turned upside down. That the whole country now waits for the result of the president when he was the first one to be counted, okay? While we already have governors, we already have senators, we already have members of parliament. Why is it? Is it not a deliberate way of trying to delay the results so that there is some balancing, subtraction, and moderation? I leave that for you. If we count the presidential ballots, or rather result first, then the president should be known first before anything else. So what Chebukati was trying to play as, go to the portal, download from the portal, look for the result. It was all delaying tactics so that the wrong president can find a way. Kenya. Let me not bring that up. Well, we must call it a day. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. This conversation continues even after we sign out. So make sure that you keep at Sound Candy Talk. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. If you have not followed us on TikTok, please follow us. And then, of course, share this with as many as you can so that more people can get enlightened through what we have covered today in our discussion. I also invite you to be our ambassador wherever you are. Please don't, be a spectator, be a participator into the show. And then, of course, ensure that the truth is going out fast enough to counter the lies and the manipulations that are being thrown here and there. And so, in conclusion, the amendment to the Constitution can wait until the implementation is done, but it should not take forever. I don't think there is any reason why 15 years later we have not implemented fully the Constitution. And so those standing on the way of the implementation of the Constitution should be kicked out of the way and let the Kenyan people enjoy their Constitution and, of course, the benefits that come thereby. Parliament, mark your member of parliament. Those that have collected bribes not to scrutinize bad policies that have affected the Kenyan people negatively, they should be kicked out of that house. Next elections gives you an opportunity. Don't vote in idiots. Don't vote in compromised, fallen people. Get people that love their country, love the people, and want to do what is right for the people. Until next time, God bless you. Please keep it a Sound Candy Talk. Tukutane tutakapokutana. Asanteni sana na tuendelee kushare video na of course kushirikiana na kila Mkenya. God bless you.
Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Candy Talk Live. Unatazama Sound Candy Talk Live. Sound Candy Talk Live News.